Hi, this is Stan Phelps from marketinglagniappe.com, and welcome to the 6th episode of the Purple Goldfish video podcast. Today we're going to do a recap of the first 5 podcasts. So we're going to talk about what lagniappe is, the 5 main ingredients or rules of creating marketing lagniappe. We're going to talk about why purple and why a goldfish. And then we're going to delve into why marketing lagniappe is so vital and important in terms of marketing your product or service. Lastly, we're going to finish up with a book review of Joe Jaffes' new book, Flip the Funnel. Today's podcast is brought to you by Synergy Events, an award-winning experiential marketing agency. Enjoy the podcast.
Hey, this is Jack, and this is Stan, and it's another episode of the Purple Goldfish podcast. Today, we're going to do a quick recap of some of the older podcasts, just in case you haven't caught those or you're joining us midstream.
Tuning in for the first time.
I can't imagine why you haven't watched all the other ones. So let's get right to it.
By the way, we're on iTunes now, which is...
Oh yeah, we're big time now. So go to iTunes and subscribe to this, please. Okay, so let's just quickly recap. What is marketing lagniappe? What is lagniappe?
Right. So lagniappe, just simple translated, means the gift. It's the idea that giving that little something extra at the time of purchase, going a little bit above and beyond to exceed the expectations of your customer.
Okay, and that's a word that comes from Cajun
Creole word.
So down in New Orleans, when they give you a little extra, that's a lagniappe. All right, and we had covered what the ingredients or the rules are of lagniappe. So why don't you quickly tell us?
Yeah, so five ingredients, or the acronym rules. So R in the rules is relevant. So it has to be relevant in terms of what you give. U is unexpected, so make it unexpected, kind of surprise and delight. L is limited, so you want to make sure it's kind of unique and signature to your business. E is expressive, so how it's given. And then lastly, S is for sticky. So it's got to be something that is kind of buzzworthy. People are going to want to talk about it and whatnot.
That's generating the word of mouth, which is the key to this whole thing.
Right.
And then the big question that everybody has always is, why is it a goldfish and why is it purple? So why don't we quickly cover that?
Sure. So we talked about, just for a goldfish, essentially a goldfish is kind of like your business. Its growth is determined by 5 things. So we talked about the first 4 things you really have no control over. The last thing is the idea of how you're genetically made up, how you're differentiated from the rest of the goldfish. And that's what lagniappe is all about. How do you create that signature differentiator in terms of how you deliver your product or service?
All right. Now, building on those things that we've talked about, the meat of this whole thing is then, why is this important? You know, why should I care?
Right.
Why should they care?
Right. So why should you care? And I think the simple answer is that traditional marketing is broken, right? You've got to, today's consumer can tune you out.
Well, interruption certainly doesn't work anymore,
right?
If it ever did.
Right. So you have to figure out, I think, ways that almost either whether you call it pull marketing or inbound practices, you can do ways that you can get people talking about your business. And in essence, what the whole thing is about is the idea of, instead of focusing on the traditional marketing funnel and focusing on prospects, you put the customer first. And instead of investing in advertising or traditional marketing, what you do is you put that money back into the customer by giving them that little extra.
And then this turns them into a spokesman for you.
Well, yeah, that's the idea. First of all, you want to retain more customers. Mm-hmm. So you don't want to churn. You want to reduce churn. And then you want to get people, you want to make sure they're satisfied. So giving that little extra is going to boost satisfaction. And then most importantly, you want to create kind of evangelists. You want people talking about your product or service.
And if you watch the examples of the places we visit, and if you've ever visited a place like that or one of them, you know that feeling of when you're happy with the place. What do? You jump on Twitter, you go on Facebook, and you're telling your friends about it. Or when somebody calls you up and says, I need a good, tax guy, or I need a good place to get my car fixed, that lagniappe is going to be the thing that makes somebody
right. It's going to trigger in your mind, hey, this place is different because of X.
Okay, you quickly had an example you wanted to give.
Yeah, I just put one on the website in the last week called Umpqua Bank, and Umpqua is a bank out in Portland, Oregon, and these guys really get it, Jack. I blogged about the idea, they call it handshake marketing. So they're all about trying to do that little extra. And so if you walk into a branch in Portland, free Wi-Fi, they have their own brand of gourmet coffee, and this is the one I love. When they give you your money, when you're taking your money out from the bank, they hand it to you on this little tray, and there's a little silver chocolate coin that comes along with your money. How
great.
Cool is that?
That's great. One of the things I like about that example, besides that's really cool, is we haven't talked about a place like a bank yet in this. We've talked about restaurants and hotels, and we've said, while those are great examples, there's a lot of people who aren't in the hospitality business. So
right.
A place like a bank is a great new, fresh idea.
If you could do it at a bank, you might be able to do it anywhere.
Yeah. All right, so that's enough for today's podcast. But before we go, I just wanted to let you know that we are up to 307 purple goldfish at this time. So
we're looking for more.
We won 1,001, and so you could be a part of this. So the information is on the website on how to submit it. But basically, if you have a business that you want to get onto this list, email us, tell us the story, and if it passes our rigorous exam, it'll make the project. And then we're also looking for your comments. How do you like the podcast? Any comments, questions, feedbacks, criticisms of Stan are welcome.
Right.
And we'll see you next time. So thanks for coming.
Thanks. Okay, I want to spend a few minutes talking about Joe Jaffes' new book, Flip the Funnel. This is actually his third book. First one, about 5 years ago, seminal book, Life After the 30-Second Spot. So essentially what Joe was saying here, that there are a lot of things that you can do beyond TV, radio, and print. He followed that up with a great kind of social media primer called Join the Conversation. Talks about engaging consumers through dialogue, community, and partnership. Great read here. Flip the Funnel. Okay, what is Flip the Funnel about? Again, this book is literally everything of what Marketing Lagniappe is about. And the central premise that Joe gets at is that you need to essentially, instead of focusing on the traditional marketing funnel, so awareness, desire, interest, action, that you should be focusing on the customers. So it's really a customer-first approach. And essentially what he's saying is that retention can become the new acquisition, and that customer experience or even customer service can be a strategic differentiator for your organization. In fact, I came across Umpqua Bank that we featured earlier in the podcast by reading Flip the Funnel. So great book. I would recommend picking it up. Jaffe doesn't pull any punches. It's very much kind of straight from his gut. And I really think, as a credit to Joe, he likes to say that instead of watching, if you take almost the hockey analogy, it's not about watching the puck, it's about watching where the puck is going. And I think he's really hit the nail on the head here. I highly recommend you picking up.